Welcome to 3 Point Play Sports. I'm your host, Louis Standridge. With me is my co-host, Kyle Verska. And today we are breaking down Week 8 of NFL's picks, spreads, whatever it is that we do here.
Games? I think they're called games, Louis.
Yeah, but we're picking the spreads. So we're not just weaseling our way out with the straight up. We're going the more difficult challenge.
Shots at a prominent gambler there.
Yeah. Will you recap how we did last week?
Yeah, so I won the week. I went with 9-4. Good job by me. I don't know what you went. I just know it wasn't as good as me, so you can get out of here.
7-5. Thank you.
No, 7-6. There were 13 games.
Right.
Do better math.
7-6. I'll take it.
You went 3-0 on your locks, though. Good job.
Thank you.
I went 1-2. Not good job.
Wow. Nailed it.
But, I did well in the other ones. Thursday, we had the Broncos. We were both correct. We sweated that one out. Dog of 3.5 or more win outright. You had the Broncos. They did not win. I had the Seahawks. They also did not win. Highest scoring team, I had the Chiefs. You had the Bucks. The Chiefs, I think, were the lowest scoring team of the week, which was incredible.
You should lose 2 points for that.
I mean, I want to know if that was even a bet that the Chiefs would score the fewest points in the league last week, and what the odds on that were.
I know people have posted that in other states. I know it's not in Texas, but when you can bet on games like you can on FanDuel, that they will have those odds. And I would bet, or I would speculate that they would probably have the worst odds, so maybe like plus 3,000.
I mean, facing who they were facing and being the Chiefs would have made those odds really high. So if anybody bet that, great job.
Yeah. Sprinkle $1 on there.
Yeah. Our week-to-week bets, I had Lamar at 100-plus rushing yards. He had 88, I think,
Oof.
but had a 40-yard touchdown run called back.
Oh,
so
tough break.
Tough loss there. You had underdogs cover 7-plus games. How do you think you did?
They covered 7-plus games?
They got 6.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Unless I just counted wrong. We had the Seahawks, the Lions, the Bengals, the Giants, the Dolphins, and the Broncos. That's 6.
Did you count the Titans?
No, the Titans. I'm sorry. The Titans,
okay.
7.
Yeah, thank you.
You got it.
All right.
It on the nose.
All right, get out of here.
Sorry.
Get out of here.
Sorry. Look, good job.
Did you count
I'm
the
proud
Dolphins?
of you. You did that right. So, that ends the recap.
All right, great. Let's jump into Week 8. I still have a sizable lead over Kyle, but if he keeps upping me by 2 games, he will maybe catch me by the end of the season. Here we go. Thursday night. Green Bay Packers on the road with whoever at wide receiver, maybe Malik Taylor, on the road to face the Arizona Cardinals. They are 7-0. Both of these teams riding some hot streaks coming into this game. So really the noticeable storyline is the Packers' COVID list / injuries with MVS. So Cardinals more or less at full strength as far as I know. I think they're even getting Chandler Jones back for this. So I'll let you kick it off Thursday night.
So MVS might be back, which helps, but you're still you don't want to trot out MVS and Randall Cobb as your receivers.
Right.
It's a lot of points here, Lewis, for a team that's 6-1 and has won 6 straight. I got to ride with the Packers here. It's too many points for me. I know Packers are coming in a little hobbled, but they still have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, so why can't they just run the hell out of the ball and hit Cobb and MVS and Robert Tonyan?
I was really hoping that one of these teams would have done poorly last week, and that would have made this line more appealing for one way, but I'm actually going with the Cardinals here. I think they're going to be able to pass on that secondary. I still think you saw the result of that Washington game last week. I mean, you texted me how many times Washington got basically in the red zone and just failed to walk away with points. And realistically, I think Green Bay won by 14, like 24-10 or something. They really that game could easily have been tied if it breaks the wrong way. And I just think the fact that the Cardinals resoundingly took care of the Texans, the Packers, their score is a lie from last week. And so I think the Cardinals are the better team. It feels weird and gross to say it because I can't believe we live in a world where Kingsbury is 7-0. But no Devontae Adams is huge for me. I think the Cardinals win this one. They go to 8-0. They cover the spread. But my goodness, I'm probably going to be fading them next week. I find it almost impossible to not just go ahead and pick against the Cardinals week 9.
Did Kingsbury coach last week? Because he didn't coach the week before.
Yeah, I think he did end up coaching last week.
Okay. I didn't hear.
Yeah, the lucky dog. He got to stay at home and still win and cover.
So the Cardinals still only have at most 2 good wins. Like beating Tennessee in week 1, I don't think really counts as a good win. They were a mess. They've kind of found themselves, so good job. You just caught them at the right time. They didn't beat Minnesota by 1. They've beaten Jacksonville. The Rams is a good win, and then the Niners, the really effed up Browns, and Houston.
But
so
they've taken care of business. When they won, I think we're going to be more closely aligned on this Cardinals team is a little bit more fraudulent than most would think. But I also think this Packers team is not too far away from that label as well. And since Alexander's gone out, I don't think anybody's actually fully taken advantage of that secondary.
I got you. I'm just still a little skeptical of the Cardinals being able to stop a legitimate offense, and they haven't seen one in 4 weeks.
Would not shock me if Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon combined for 35 carries and 200 yards. That.
At any rate,
yeah.
Hell of a Thursday night game we've got here.
Yeah, and then we turn around next week and it's Jets and Colts.
Glad you already are looking ahead to next week.
I love me some Joe Flacco, right?
Yeah, you do. That's a fact.
Next game up Sunday, early afternoon. Carolina Panthers 3-4 on the road to face Atlanta Falcons 3-3. This really should have been the Thursday nighter. Sam Darnold has probably taken as steep of a fall off a cliff since week 3 as anybody in the NFL. Falcons coming off their win against the Dolphins last week. It feels gross. I'm taking the Panthers.
Oh, boy. All right.
Here's the thing for me is that I feel like I want to believe that Darnold has hit rock bottom, which I think is possible. And if any team he's going to bounce back against, it's this Atlanta Falcons defense and secondary. And I think maybe we'll get one bounce back game from him. Who knows what week 9 is going to hold. But if ever he's going to hold on to his job, I think it's this week. I also think the Falcons, they're like the good, I don't even know if you'd say the good bad team. They're pesky. And so I think, they just barely stayed in that Dolphins game last week and took care of business. But
weren't they up big and they gave it away?
Yeah, and that's the thing too is that
they were up 27-14 with 8.5 to go in the fourth.
And they gave up 14 straight?
Correct.
Yeah. I'm just taking the Panthers here. I don't feel great about it, but I just think the narrative in my head is Darnold has looked as bad as possible. This has got to be a bounce back week for him.
Yeah, so they went up 27-14, and then the Dolphins went on a really nice 90-yard drive to get within 6. And then I think Matt Ryan fumbled on a scramble, and then that led to being behind. So wild. How about the only good game last week being Atlanta-Miami? The only fun game. Every other game was just a huge blowout or was a complete garbage fest.
Yeah, last week was pretty awful.
Yeah, I think it was 19 point was the average point differential going into Monday night, and then Monday night was obviously a 3-point game, so it went down some, but that game was terrible.
Which is surprising considering we had 7 dogs cover. You would think 19 point, that's just a bunch of favorites blowing people out.
Well, I mean, we had the Bengals as an underdog blow out a favorite.
Yeah,
So
that probably helps a lot.
same with the Titans. So I'm taking the Falcons here. I want no part of the Panthers. You think Sam Darnold's hit rock bottom? I think he can still keep digging. So I don't like anything I've seen out of the Panthers in a while. Matt Ryan's actually been like he's been like a top 5 QB since week 2 via EPA. So
Is
I know it.
Matt Ryan's Hall of Fame status when he retires going to be one of the most debated things?
Oh, he has no right of being in the Hall of Fame.
But
Once he made it to a Super Bowl.
He won MVP.
And coughed all that. What? How does he get in there? If Tony Romo doesn't get in there, Matt Ryan can't get in there.
Look, I'm not saying he should get in. I'm just saying it's going to be debated because people are going to be like,
Look, the debate for Eli Manning is like the all-time debate.
Yeah.
Like, is it really just rings that matter? Because Eli Manning's not a Hall of Famer, but he won 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
I'm taking the Falcons. I want no part of the Panthers. They've been really bad the last 4 weeks, and even that defense.
You want to lock it?
Which showed some life last week. It's just their offense is a mess, man. Chuba Hubbard took a huge step back last week, and Sam Darnold can't find anybody.
All right. Next game up, the aforementioned Miami Dolphins, 1-6 on the road to face Buffalo Bills, 4-2. Bills here coming off a bye. Dolphins coming off. I'd say the only takeaway was a great game by Tua last week.
Was a cover?
It was a cover in terms of pigskin pick'em. I know the line got down to 1.5 in some places, but not really as relevant for a pigskin pick'em. Who do you like in this one?
So if you remember, the Bills blanked Miami back in week 2, 35-0.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Was that the game Tua got injured? Was it? No, it must have been Brissett the whole time, I think.
Was it? I think he might have played the first quarter.
Tua got hurt really early.
Yeah.
That's right. So it was Brissett for 90+% of the game. 13.5 points is a lot, Lewis.
I don't know, man.
But Bills off a bye. I think the Dolphins are just ready to die, aren't they? I'm taking the Bills. I don't love this pick. It's a lot of points in a divisional matchup, especially a second divisional matchup, but the Dolphins can't move the ball. It's a problem. Good for them for putting up 28 on the Falcons. It took 14 points in the fourth quarter.
I think we have to be thankful that the Titans beat the Bills right before the bye, because I think that's the only thing keeping this probably under 14. I'm taking the Bills here too. I don't like this either. It's going to sound like a broken record. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but and I may switch in all honesty because the divisional thing means a lot to me, especially in the rematches. I can't imagine them going the same way, but it's such a big deal to me that the Bills are coming off a bye and the fact that they lost. I feel like that's going to be motivating them very strongly in this matchup. They're going to be at home. I mean, the Dolphins were they've only been somewhat successful against poor defenses, and they're not going to be able to run the ball against the Bills. I don't really think they'll be able to throw the ball against the Bills, and I don't see really how this is much different from last time.
Do you remember what the spread was back in week 2?
10?
3.5.
Oof. Wow.
So it's grown 10 points in 5 or 6 weeks.
Well, I mean, more so others than me, but I think we've come to realize this Dolphins team probably not good. I think I heard rumblings last week that that Flores may have lost the locker room. Did you say that?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm not reporting.
Maybe I heard that from somebody else then.
So I think if this game had been in Buffalo in week 2, it probably would have been 6.5.
Yeah.
So it's probably grown by a touchdown in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, we have not discussed at all, but is Flores at risk for getting fired if he loses this?
I don't think so. They're really injured. And how do you don't have your starting quarterback who had a rough rookie year that was partly his fault, partly wasn't his fault, and then he immediately gets injured to start this year, and he misses 4 or 5 games. So I don't think so. They won 10 games last year. You can't get rid of him after this year.
Okay.
If they go 2-15, then maybe.
Okay. Well, let me just throw this scenario. Let's say they lose this one by 28 or 21. Let's say 21. Next week they play the Texans. Let's say they happen to lose that one.
They're not going to fire him mid-season. I promise he will not get fired in season.
All right. I'm just saying we haven't talked about it.
They went 5-3 down the stretch 2 years ago. They went 10-6 overall last year, just barely missed the playoffs. He's not going to get fired in season.
Okay. Next game up, San Francisco 49ers with Jimmy G on the road to face the Chicago Bears. Bears 3-4. Both of these teams coming off losses. Bears are plus 3.5. Can I just not pick this game at all? This is awful. The Niners with Jimmy G, that was some terrible quarterback play. I know it was a bomb cyclone or whatever they called it. The Bears, though, Justin Fields had 5 turnovers last week. Does that sound right?
I know he had the 3 picks. I know he fumbled twice. Did he lose 2 of them?
Maybe. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna take the points. I'm gonna. This is like a struggle. Like I've never picked games before, but the 4 games to start this slate, I'll take the Bears plus 3.5. I cannot take Jimmy G on the road minus 3.5. I also want to. Now that I'm saying this, I believe Kyle Shanahan is something like winning percentage of like 35% when he's the favorite. 45%. Covering the spread as a favorite?
Oh, the spread? Yeah, I don't know about the spread. Sorry.
Oh, you're talking about overall winning percentage. Which also probably, it just dawned on me after that Colts game how bad it is when we all kind of hold him up to be such a great coach. And I understand they've had a ton of injuries the last few years. But at the same time, it does creep into your head, the fact that they've been disappointing. So give me the Bears plus 3.5.
Fields did have 2 lost fumbles. So I'm with you on the Bears. And I was going to ask, and you kind of got into this, when does the Kyle Shanahan's a genius, no longer be the case? Can he win some games? That'd be nice. They had the one season they make the Super Bowl. The rest of the time they're terrible. Doesn't that matter?
I think, but to your point with Flores, the thing is that they've had injuries. You had Jimmy G get injured, and then
totally. I'm not saying he needs to get fired, but he needs to be knocked off of he's a top 6 coach in the league.
I think I might already be there, to be honest. I just not impressed. Although I will say I'm going to leave the window open for Trey Lance. Let's say he comes back next week, and this I think they do still have one of the easier schedules over the course of the season. So there still is a chance if they get to 500. Let's say they lose this game, they go to 2-5. If they turn around, then they go 5-3 or whatever it comes out to in the 17-game season. Get around 500, I might be back in, but clearly he's got it not connected with Jimmy G, and Jimmy G is just he's out. So I need Trey Lance to really to help me evaluate Shanahan.
How many scoring drives of more than 50 yards did the Buccaneers have last week?
Well, considering with 5 turnovers, maybe 1.
You are correct. They had one 75-yard touchdown drive that only took 5 plays. The rest were 32, 40, 35, missed a field goal on one, 48-33. So Bears just kept getting put in terrible positions. I don't think the Niners offense can capitalize on that like the Buccaneers did. Bears defense still pretty good. I like their chances against the Niners.
If anything, this may be a Khalil Herbert game. He actually, the numbers he put up against that Bucs
really good
rush defense was impressive, and it's overshadowed by the way that game turned out. Next game up, the Pittsburgh Steelers, 3-3 on the road to face Cleveland Browns, 4-3. Steelers here coming off a bye, but the Browns favorites -3.5. Does this feel? Every game is gross. To give me the +3.5 with the Steelers, I love Tomlin as an underdog. I think the fact that it's strength versus strength with the rush defense against the Browns' rush offense, and the fact that that because it's Case Keenum and there's going to be more reliance on the rushing offense, taking that away or at least negating it to a certain effect leaves this game more closely at the end. So I think getting the field goal plus a hook.
Yeah, I'm going to lock the Steelers. I love Tomlin as an underdog. I love Tomlin coming off a bye. The Steelers' defense is still really good. Browns are just completely hampered by injuries. So I don't think for certain that Hunt is going to play in this game. Chubb could come back.
Does it matter?
Well, that's what I was going to get at. Even then, it's still like Tomlin and a defense coming off a bye against Case Keenum.
Right.
Love the Steelers here.
Next game up, we've got...
Is that your beautiful little daughter wanting to make an appearance?
Yeah.
Good for her.
On to the next one. Philadelphia Eagles, 2-5, on the road to face the Detroit Lions, 0-7. Lions here +3.5. All right, Detroit Lions 0-7. What else can you say? 7 losses. It's just gut punch after gut punch. I credit to them though, starting that game. I think they had a fake punt. They had an onside kick. They nailed both of them. Still ultimately didn't matter, but they are effing trying. On the other side, the Eagles, I believe no Miles Sanders. I haven't seen it officially, but it might be somewhere. Do you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking that up.
Okay.
I don't know that it matters because they don't really use him anyway.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe to my point then, as far as this game goes, I think I would feel more confident in the Eagles.
Expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks.
If Miles Sanders, despite their usage of him, was available, because I think you can run on this Lions team. Everybody has shown that effect. You can probably throw him just as well, but I think the fact that the Eagles will be more one-dimensional, I think this opens the window for the Lions to win their first game of the season. They're aching to get it. It's going to happen one of these weeks. They're not going to go 0-17 behind Dan Campbell. I think this is their best opportunity. So just go ahead and throw this out. This will probably be my upset of 3.5 or more.
Probably or not?
Probably will be.
Okay, well then I'm not going to write it down.
Write it down.
I'm taking the Steelers as my dog of 3.5 or more to win.
Great.
Yeah. So you were correct, but you didn't give us enough context. Lions start with the ball, go down, touchdown. Onside kick, get it. Then they run the fake punt on that same drive, get it, go up 10-0. Then they're behind. Then they run another fake punt in the third quarter and get that too, and they still lose by 9. It's pretty incredible to get an onside kick and two fake punts and still lose by 9 and get that onside when like the game was still like in the balance. So you're right. I love the way they fight. I don't know how many more times we're going to see Jared Goff in our life be an NFL starting quarterback. He's been terrible. They don't like him, but I don't know that they're ready to hand the reins to David Blau. The Eagles being favorites of more than a field goal in this game is absurd to me.
Yeah.
They don't do anything well. Now, we might get like a Jalen Hurts 145-yard rushing game, but I'm not worried about it. Question for you: is Boston Scott still on the Eagles?
Yeah, I think so. He's a third string running back.
It's crazy that he's still there somehow.
Yeah, good luck trying to figure out which one's Gainwell and which one's Boston Scott. So, all right, next game up, we've got the Tennessee Titans 5-2 coming off one of the more impressive wins last weekend over the Chiefs on the road to face Indianapolis Colts. Colts 3-4. They've covered, I believe, 4 straight against the spread. Of course, their win Sunday night against the Niners. Colts plus 1.5. Who do you like?
I have no idea, Lewis. I felt pretty strongly about every game we've talked about so far, with the exception of like the Bills, but that's just because it's a huge number. Are we ready to jump on the Titans bandwagon, or are we ready to admit that like Carson Wentz is playing way better than we ever thought he would?
A little bit of both.
Okay. I don't know why the Titans, who are just absolutely whipping the Chiefs, still gave the ball to Derrick Henry 29 times. Can we give him the ball 13 times, maybe?
Maybe that's what he wants.
Carries. How much do you think he's leading the league in carries by right now?
Like the difference between him 1 and 2?
Correct.
Maybe 40 carries.
I think he entered the week up by like 51 and then ran the ball 29 times.
I mean, I guess until proven otherwise, just grind him.
Lewis, he's up 68 carries on Joe Mixon through 7 games.
How many does he have on the season?
I want you to guess.
120.
191.
No way. 100.
Yeah.
So what is that? If they played 7 games,
that is 27 carries.
He's on pace for what? 500 carries? Is that not
27 times 17? That's 270 minus 72. So it'd be like 498.
That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Can we just get him just a little bit of rest, please?
So, I mean, here's the question then that everybody's starting to bring up. MVP candidacy.
459.
MVP candidacy. If Brady keeps doing what he's doing, I think he might be on pace for over 50 touchdowns. But if Derrick Henry keeps up his success, and let's say he rushes for 26 touchdowns, 25, plus 450 carries, that's going to be one of the most hotly debated MVP things. Not to mention, you still have Prescott and Kyler Murray. It's an insane MVP race right now.
He would have to do something insane, and the Titans would have to be like 14-3, or at the very least 13-4.
No, I mean if they get to 11 wins, 11-6.
11-6 just doesn't sound very good.
Okay.
Now, if the Buccaneers are 14-3, you're going to give it to a guy who's on the 11-6 team?
I mean, if the Buccaneers are 14-3, yeah, I see what you're saying, but
if the Cardinals are 15-2,
I mean, yeah, I guess in your world, then whoever wins 14 games is probably going to have the MVP.
Yeah. Look, Derrick Henry's going to break a bunch of records provided, he keeps continuing on this pace. He's averaging 124 yards a game, which is almost 50 yards more than anyone else. But I think the Titans are going to be scraping to. They're most likely going to end up as the 4 seed, right? They're going to win this bad division. They'll probably win it by 1 or 2 games over the Colts and be the 4 seed. I can't see Derrick Henry winning the MVP. That's where I'm at.
I'd be willing to take the odds right. So are you on the Titans?
Oh boy. Yes.
I'd be willing to take the odds on the Colts winning the division because I think the fact that this game is 1.5, if the Colts win this, go 4-4, Titans drop down to 5-3, that's a 1 game difference. And to me, considering that the Colts are probably a top 5 rushing defense, and we've seen. Yeah, I don't know if you remember last.
I'm taking the Colts. I felt like I wanted to take the Colts the whole time, and then you asked me, put me on the spot. I'm taking the Colts.
Okay, I'm going to take the Colts. I'm going to lock the Colts. I think if you remember last year, in their first matchup with DeForest Buckner, this team I think held Derrick Henry to one of his lowest rushing totals all season, and I would not be shocked if we see a repeat of that this year, this game. I think when they rematched, DeForest Buckner did not play, and that led to Derrick Henry running all over the Colts. So I think clearly, like, Buckner, great interior defensive lineman, as if you didn't know already. But that's a big thing for me. The fact that if they're going to just commit it to run 25 to 30 times, which for the most part, you can't blame them, right? Why wouldn't you with Derrick Henry, especially if you don't think he's going to get injured? But if he's also going to be stopped or more unsuccessful more frequently in this game and lead to longer, throws for Tannehill, I just think that's going to be more and more difficult for him to complete. On the other side, the Titans' secondary is decimated. And we all thought going into last week the Chiefs are going to take advantage. Didn't happen. That's a whole other thing. I think it's being overlooked that this Colts team could very much take advantage of that secondary with Pittman, maybe with Pascal. I don't know, whoever's healthy still. Maybe just Pittman. So that's why I'm taking the Colts. I'm going to lock the Colts plus 1.5.
It's the first time the Colts have been locked this year by either of us.
All right.
Just FYI.
Didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, well, now you do.
Next game up, Cincinnati Bengals, 5-2 on the road to face New York Jets, 1-5. This is one of the more lopsided picked games on the board here. Jets plus 10.5 as home underdogs. I'm rolling with the Jets here, taking the contrarian play, 10.5. Big thing for me is that you have a Bengals team that's been thriving and on a great streak here. The thing I have a lot of skepticism about is when you have really successful young teams, especially coming over a huge win, biggest win of the season last week against the Ravens, and then trying to get up to go on the road and play a team that you really think you could just probably beat sleepwalking. I'm going to take the dog in that case because I feel like the Bengals, this is ripe for disappointment, ripe for a letdown game. Jets, nobody's going to want them because you're probably going to get Mike White, who I couldn't even tell you what he looks like because I don't think I've ever seen his...
Is that the guy who created the White Lotus?
I don't know. But and the thing is, the Jets probably won't have any business being in this game because they're not good. But I just feel like the Bengals are just going to fart around, and the Jets will be able to cover the 10.5. This might be like a 27-17 game. I'm not exactly expecting the Jets to win this game, but I think the Bengals will mess around long enough to let the Jets hang around.
For the record, there are probably thousands of guys named Mark White, but Mike White, but one did create the White Lotus. Okay. So,
I mean, they could be the same. How would I know?
Yeah, exactly. How would you know? I'm locking the Bengals. Have fun with the Jets.
All right.
I want no part of the Jets. The Bengals have annihilated both the Lions and the Ravens the last 2 weeks. They seem to really be feeling themselves, and that offense is nasty, and their defense has been pretty good too. I can't, in good faith, take the Jets against a good team. So it's time to have the Bengals conversation. Do they win the division?
Man,
you got to think they're probably going to split with the Ravens, but they did just beat the Ravens in Baltimore.
Here's the thing, though, is I still, are we completely over the hill and admitting that we were wrong about Taylor and Kingsbury? Because I'm still super skeptical about the Cardinals. Would not be shocked.
I think teams can win in spite of those coaches if they have enough talent. which the Bengals have so much offensive talent.
That's very true.
As do the Cardinals.
I mean, they win this game. God damn. If you had me pick Bengals or the rest of the division, I'll take the rest of the division. But I think the Bengals, if you were lining them up individually, I'd have them as a favorite. Which Vegas probably does because they have just looked like the best team.
The Bengals have the 4th best point differential in the league right now, plus 61.
Yeah.
And now they're playing a team that really can't move the football.
Didn't they lose to the Bears?
They lost to the Bears and the Vikings both by... No, they lost... not the Vikings, the Packers. They lost to the Bears and Packers by 3.
Yeah.
But the Bears, good defense. The Jets, good nothing.
All right.
Locking the Bengals.
Fair enough. You and 87% of the picks so far. Next game up, the Los Angeles Rams 6-1 on the road to face the Houston Texans 1-6. Is this?
We just have double-digit spreads with the Texans, Jets, and Lions, or rotating third team every week.
This just seems like recency bias, but I can't remember having back-to-back weeks with essentially 3 teams as 2 touchdown underdogs. I mean, maybe that's common. It happens every season, but it's just wild to me.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say about the Rams? They took care of business despite the Lions putting up a fight. Texans were up 5-0 and gave up 31 straight points. Who do you like?
To the Giants.
No, the Texans?
Yeah.
The Cardinals.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the Cardinals. Yeah, it's bad. Don't know why I said the Giants. Good job by me. I hate taking just huge road favorites, but the Texans have done absolutely nothing for so long. They had that one crazy Davis Mills game, which I don't even know when that was at this point. I think it was against the Patriots, right?
Yeah, because they were up in that game.
Yeah, that was 3 weeks ago. The last 2 weeks, they've scored 8 combined points.
Yeah. They
probably score more points in this game, but they're not stopping the Rams. I'll take the Rams.
I will say, watching the game, because I had a vested interest in the Texans covering 16.5 points last week with Pick'em, it was painful. I mean, they got the field goal basically on they caught a break on a turnover. So really, they could have just had 2 points.
Well, that's another break. Getting a safety, that happens not very often.
Yeah, so, I mean, it could have gotten blanked 31-0 if you play that.
How many points do you think they've scored the last 5 weeks?
I don't know, maybe 50?
39.
Okay. Here's the thing for me, is this is very much a microcosm, but I...
Take the Texans.
No. I'm taking the Rams here because I want no part of the Texans because it was so painful to watch that offense last week. The fact that the Cardinals have a less than average rush defense and the Texans they kept running these plays. I think they were doing rush plays out of shotgun, and it was just so slowly developing that just Mark Ingram wasn't getting anywhere. And I was just thinking, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And some of these play calls and the decisions, it was just super, super painful. I think we got a gift in the Lions covering last week against the Rams because it makes it seem like maybe the Rams can't cover a double-digit spread. But I'm going to take the Rams in this case, minus 14.5. I think the Texans are basically a little bit on par with the Lions. And the only difference is I don't think the Texans will have the balls to do what the Lions did last week. So if that's the difference in the Lions covering this last week, that's why I expect the Rams to cover this week.
What do you think the top headline is on Houston Texans page on ESPN.com? Just take a guess.
A Watson trade.
Texans chairman apologizes for anti-Asian remark.
Oh, my gosh.
That's where we're at with this Houston team.
Oh,
the McNair family continues to be amazing.
I will say, though, now that we're we're at the end of picking this game. I believe Tyrod Taylor is off the IR. If he plays in this game, I'm taking the 14.5.
I probably would too, but who knows? He to return to practice this week as QB getting closer to playing. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it from me. If he plays, I'm switching to the Texans. That's too many points for a competent QB. Mills. Bleh. Next game up, New England Patriots 3-4. It's just embarrassing the Jets, which that sucks. On the road, face Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are coming off a bye. They are 4-2. I'm doing it. Give me the Chargers. Lock the Chargers minus the 5.5. I love coming off a bye. Love Staley. I know before they went into.
How do we know what Staley's like off a bye?
Well, he's going to be 1-0. That's what I'm telling you right now. So locking that, just emphasizing, I think this Patriots team, a lot of bad juju, bad karma off running up the score on the Jets.
Oh,
That's not going to work this week against the Chargers. I think the Chargers put it on the Patriots. And, I think the rush defense in the first and second down offense, the two big problems for the Chargers, you've had a bye week to address those. The Patriots looked way better than they had any business being last week. So that's why I'll take the 5.5.
3 of the 4 Patriots losses are by 6 points or fewer. They lost to the Dolphins back in week 1 by 1. They lost to the Bucs by 2. They lost to the Cowboys by 6. They've been really competitive. I'm trying to look at this.
But those Bucs and Cowboys games were in New England, were they not?
The Bucs game was. I think the Cowboys game was too.
Yeah.
And so was the Dolphins. So you've got a point there. Point for Lewis.
Thank you.
The Patriots are plus 39 point differential this season. I know that 54-13 certainly helps.
Yeah.
But that's
I can't do anything with that.
But that they were just -2 going into that game. So, maybe on a more normal note, they'd be plus 18 or so, plus 16. So I'm taking the Patriots.
Nah.
Plus 5.5 for Bill Belichick is a lot.
Get out of here.
That's where I'm at.
East Coast to West Coast.
On the road, the Patriots on the road this season. Yeah, it's going to be 10 a.m. No, it's at 3 a.m. Okay, so 1 o'clock for the Chargers local time. On the road this season, the Patriots are 2-0. So that kind of matters, right?
Yeah, sure. For you, maybe.
You're not even going to ask me who they beat?
Tell me.
Jets and Texans.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Give me the 5.5. Way too many points for Belichick and an offense that's improving every week.
Sure. If you say so. Next game up, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, clearly Vegas doesn't know what to do with this game at 5.5.
This is Vegas. I don't know.
Exactly.
Jaguars 1-5 on the road to face Seattle Seahawks 2-5. I don't want any part of this game. Hopefully I don't have to watch it. Jaguars coming off the London bye and their first win of the season.
Why haven't the Dolphins had a bye yet? Why are they doing this to the Dolphins?
I don't know. Maybe the jet lag is gonna contribute. Well, I don't know. Seahawks minus 3.5. Of course, they covered both of these lowly teams covering in their last game.
Jags won.
Yeah. Who do you like in this one? That's gross.
The London Jaguars won. I don't know how you back the Jags. Doesn't it feel like they just got their one win, now they're done?
Maybe.
I'm going to take Seattle at home against a really terrible team. We know that at least Seattle's going to fight. I don't know what you're going to get out of the Jaguars. So I'm going to take Seattle against – this is an awful game. Where would the Seahawks be with Russell Wilson at this point? Like, They held the Saints to 13 points. Russell Wilson scoring more than 13 points in that game on Monday night. So
it was rough.
It was so bad, and I'm tired of videos of Russell Wilson running fake 2-minute drills.
Geno Smith has played 3 primetime games. Can you believe that?
Is that true?
Yeah, they played him.
I know he's played the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they played. Well, if you go back and look, I'm pretty sure they played 3 straight primetime games.
I'm pulling that up right now. I don't think that's correct, but we're gonna see. No, the Rams. This was
the Thursday night.
No, you're right. You're right. They had back-to-back Sunday night games, then a Monday night game.
Yeah.
Brutal.
So Geno Smith maybe in the late afternoon is better. If anything.
Well, I mean, Russ got hurt in that game against the Rams, so they weren't thinking it was going to be Geno Smith.
Right. I'm taking the Seahawks here. I'm with you. Look, if Jaguars happen to cover this one, that's great. I'm just going to keep fading them while Urban is coach because that Dolphins game is maybe more indicative of Flores and how he's handling that team and less about the Jaguars turning a corner. I still think this team is terrible. I think they're coached terribly. So I'll take the Seahawks, especially at home. So next game up, Washington professional football team.
I do think the Seahawks are 1-3 at home. No, I'm sorry, they're 0-3 at home.
All right.
Okay, cool. So I love how you just dismiss
So they're due for a win. What do you want me to do with that?
I just because you're like, oh, I love the Seahawks at home. Well, they are 0-3.
Yeah, they're due for a win.
Okay.
Washington 2-5. Just brutal head banging against the wall loss against the Packers last week. On the road face Denver Broncos. Broncos here -2.5. They have, I believe, 6 linebackers on IR, and they so much so that they had to trade for one in the last week. They're -2.5 at home. I'm taking the Broncos. I don't know if Gibson if his shin. Honestly, Gibson should probably just take 3 weeks off, and if that actually would make a difference.
So what's the point at this point? They're 2-5, and they're not going to catch the Cowboys.
What's the point of playing him if he's not going to be any good?
That's what I'm saying, Lewis. We're saying the same thing.
Oh,
here.
okay. I thought you said what's the point of sitting him? All right.
No. God.
I feel this animosity constantly, so I'm just defensive.
How dare you?
So I'm taking the Broncos -2.5. I just think these teams are pretty even. I'll default to the altitude, and the Broncos, I still think they have one of the better home field advantages in the league. And like I said, you can run on the Broncos, but if I can't rely on Gibson to really dominate like he can, then what kind of advantage is that? That's not really one for me. So I'll take the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Broncos here. Can we just the Taylor Heineke honeymoon is completely over at this point. He's brutal. Broncos on a long layoff back at home, less than a field goal. Yeah, I really like the Broncos in this spot.
Great. On to the next one. Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road to face New Orleans Saints. Both these teams coming off a win. Saints here +4.5 at home. Also, one of the more lopsided picks based off of people's choices so far. 84% on the Bucs. Who do you like in this one?
Lewis, can I sell you on a storyline that probably doesn't matter?
Sure.
Halloween in New Orleans against a divisional opponent as an underdog.
Halloween
Doesn't
in the
that make you
afternoon?
feel good?
In the afternoon?
Huh? It's fine. It's a Sunday. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Halloween in New Orleans as an underdog against a divisional opponent. How do you feel about it?
How should I feel about it? Tell me.
Well, I'm taking the Saints. I'm going pure storyline here.
Look, that's not even a storyline. That's just a coincidence.
How is it not a storyline? Who loves Halloween more than New Orleans?
Vegas.
No.
New York.
No. Vegas isn't even like a real place where people live.
Oh my god. Shots at all the labor industry in Vegas. Uncalled for. Yeah, good luck with that. I'm taking Jameis. I think the fact that... No, I'm not taking Jameis. Sorry. I got two thoughts conflated in my head. I'm taking the Bucs because of Jameis. I think if...
The Jameis Winston revenge game.
That's
another storyline. That's like 5 storylines.
They already got revenge last year. They beat the Bucs twice, and then they lost in the playoffs. So...
But that wasn't Jameis.
Right, but he was on the team.
That's not the same.
Here's the thing for me, is that I still fundamentally do not have a lot of faith in the Saints team. And the thing we saw against...
I don't blame you.
The thing we saw against Seattle was they're going to try and run, and who can blame them when Kamara's your best player? But if you cannot run on this Bucs team, that means Jameis has to throw the ball. And every single time I saw him drop back to throw against that terrible Seattle secondary, he looked so hesitant. And you can almost understand it from the fact that, like, he wants to sling it like he used to with Bruce Arians, but he also knows Sean Payton's voices in his head saying, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over. And it causes these long delays in his decision-making because he's like, oh, no, better be safe. And it's causing him to hesitate. And he had plenty of throws against Seattle or plenty of opportunities where he could have really just like completely lit it up. And it's just so much hesitancy. And I just don't know if Jameis can ever just fully become that kind of quarterback. I think he wants to be the guy that slings it, no risk it, no biscuit, and he's just not that guy. And when he has to overthink things, it just doesn't produce good results. And I think that means they're so limited offensively. I think behind Lattimore defensively, they have a liability. I think second cornerback and lower on the depth chart, you can throw on them. So give me the Bucs. Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin should be able to throw over the Saints team.
Can I entertain you on the Saints have given up the second fewest points in the league this year?
Yeah, you can entertain me, but who have they really played?
Okay. Well, let's take a deeper look into that. They've played the Packers, who's put up 3 points.
That one as much of a throwaway as any game this year.
Okay. They gave it 13 to the Pats. They gave up 27 to the Giants. That's not what you want. 21 to Washington, and then 10 to Seattle.
Yeah. Geno Smith, Seattle.
Here's the thing, Lewis, is I understand your hatred of Jameis, and it's fine. I know.
Blew the cover.
He made 2 back-to-back beautiful throws against Seattle along the right sideline that his receivers dropped on back-to-back plays. That would have been touchdowns.
Is that supposed to make me feel better that he's got not one of the bottom 5 wide receiver cores?
Well, you were attacking Jameis. I'm saying he was making great throws. His receivers were letting him down.
He could have made other throws as well. How many times did he sit there and he did his...
I don't blame you for taking Tampa. You and 84% of the country. I get it. I'm just playing pure storyline here.
Sure.
This is a fun pick. I'm essentially throwing this pick away because it's a lot of fun to just destroy your brain.
Yeah, I mean...
But at the same time, this is also a classic Lewis play against the public.
You mean play with the public? Or are you doing the play?
No, you. This is me acting as you, if you can keep up.
No. Look, go for it. I will say when it comes to Thursday afternoon, 10 times out of 10, rather be rooting for Tom Brady to make something happen than have to figure out that...
Thursday afternoon, huh?
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you have no idea what you're doing. This is great.
Time is a flat circle. Sunday night. How many locks do I have, by the way?
Dose.
All right, great. Because here comes the third one. Cowboys 5-1 on the road to face Minnesota Vikings 3-3. Both of these teams coming off a bye. Mike Zimmer plus 2.5 at home. Kirk Cousins in primetime. Give me the lock. Cowboys 6-0 against the spread this year. They are due for a loss. I said so much last week or 2 weeks ago when they actually covered. They can't go 17-0 against the spread. So give me the Vikings. Lock it 2.5.
I was so excited to have our first double lock, and now we have a head-to-head lock.
All right.
This is great.
Go for it.
This is great.
Do it.
The Vikings, no thanks. Cowboys are destroying everybody. They're great. Vikings are fine. 2.5. Love the Cowboys here. Locking the Cowboys. Kirk Cousins in primetime is a disaster every single time. I think he got his first win last year in primetime. This is going to be a fun game. I would stay away from the spread and just bet the over. The over has to be like 54 at least in this game.
Probably.
It's going to be somewhere between like 50 and 54.
I will tell you, it is. That's the money line. I need the total. It is. Yeah, it was started out at 49.5. It's up to 55.
Wow. Bet Vegas felt silly with that 49 after they just got crushed on the over.
You want to hear the most ridiculous thing?
I do.
The Jets opening line, Jets -1.
Jets -1?
Yeah.
And so it's moved 4 points?
It's moved 11 points.
Oh, 11? There's no way the Jets opened as -1.
That's what I'm looking at.
How is that possible? And now
it might have been from preseason because
okay.
I'm not exactly sure what they're referencing when they say open, whether they say opened before season or because I don't think they would have opened Monday morning or Sunday afternoon.
No way. That's just asking to lose all the money at that point.
Maybe they know it's a trap.
Yeah, look, if the Jets win, like, shout out to Vegas for always knowing. I love the Cowboys here off the bye. Love it. This is
Mike McCarthy.
A wild line to me.
Mike McCarthy just scheming up with his genius.
Oh, is like Mike Zimmer, your guy for first coach fire before the season? He's out there scheming it up.
Look, if these coaches switch teams, I think we would see Zimmer have more success.
Well, because the Cowboys are a better team.
Yeah.
Sure. We here's the thing though, we'd see a better Cowboys defense, but we'd probably see a better Vikings offense.
Oh, okay.
So love the Cowboys. I love the head-to-head lock. I was so excited to do the double lock for the first time all year, and you zagged.
Why?
I love it.
You know I was fading the Cowboys after last time. I'm going to keep fading them if they win this week.
I can't remember 2 weeks ago.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, here we go. Last game of the weekend, Monday night. I don't even know what this one I've been breaking my brain over. Giants here, 2-5. On the road, face Kansas City Chiefs, 3-4. Chiefs are -9.5. The last week was brutal. And the Giants, on the other hand, they took care of business against Carolina Panthers. Who do you like? You go first.
Isn't this just a close your eyes and flip a coin here?
Sure.
I mean, the Chiefs aren't going to score 3 points again.
Right.
That's not happening.
Right.
The Giants, I'm just going to take the Chiefs. Last week was an aberration. I think they put up 30-some-odd points again. I have no idea what to do with this line. This line is crazy. But if, like, forced to make a pick, Chiefs by 10, okay, I'll take the Chiefs by 10 against a bad team.
Here's the narrative that I have in my head, because instinctually I want to take the Giants. I mean, a double-digit dog, basically on prime time. I'm gonna lean towards most of the time by default, just because probably historically advantageous. But I keep thinking, one, the Chiefs will not be as bad as last week, clearly. Like, without question. I don't think that's even debatable. I think, two, we know that the Chiefs still have, I think, maybe even if you exclude last week, because I just think that's a huge outlier, like a top 3 offense. And I think if we expect them to play within that capability, they could put up 35 points on this Giants defense. Question is the offense going to turn around, or the defense going to turn around and give up 25 plus? That's possible. And this is a game I'll probably flip-flop on 20 times. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs now, minus 9.5. I think this is going to be one of the more frustrating teams all year, because every single time the Chiefs win, we want to say the Chiefs are back. And then the next week they'll just lose. And they'll just keep...
Is this when you want to grab Chiefs title odds? You've been telling me this for the last 4 weeks. Now's the time to grab the Chiefs title odds.
No, I think I'm officially out on the Chiefs. If they make a run, would not shock me. But I think the thing is, too, is that offensive line has still not fully been brought back to its prominence. I don't think it might just be an average offensive line. I think we have to see Mahomes really just play what the defense is giving him. I think he's so used to being so great at hitting those deep routes, and the offense is just being so explosive, and there's so much pressure to do that because the defense sucks. I think if we get a Mahomes that is much more methodical, and
they're going to be hearing this shit all week about how they're bad now.
Right. And that's the thing is, I think that's what's led to them playing the way they've been playing the last month. And I think if they will just get back to being smart offensively, which they very easily can do, and just be methodical, hit Kelsey for 15 yards every single play, just score a touchdown. Let the defense worry about the defense. Just play smart offense. Stop trying to hit Hill for 30-yard touchdowns because you think that's what's going to keep it up. If they do that, I think they cover the spread. It sounds contrarian. If they cover, I'm probably going to fade them next week, because I think this, like I said, I think this is going to be a team that every single time the public is begging for this team to be back. It's just so hard to wrap your head around the fact that this team could be objectively average and not make the playoffs. And if they win this game, it's like Chiefs are back, bet the Super Bowl. Next week they lose. It's just going to be alternating narratives, because the truth is the offense is really good, defense is really bad, and that's what's going to lead to highs and lows all season long.
Does it matter to you that the defense has shut out the opponent in the second half each of the last 2 weeks?
That is impressive. They play the Packers next week also.
I just think, people love to write off champions or teams that have been super successful in the last 3 or 4 years, like the Chiefs have, where they've made 2 Super Bowls, they lost one, they lost in overtime of an AFC title game before their 2 Super Bowl trips. Teams love to, fans and pundits love to kick champions when they're down. The Chiefs are too proud for that. But here's the thing. Maybe just run the ball a little bit. If teams are just going to play too high shell on you, just run the football.
Yeah.
I know you have Patrick Mahomes. I know you guys have done great things. I get it.
Yeah.
Run the football. If they're just going to be like, hey, here you go, run the football. Then just fucking do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, too, is they could do that. They could just play the short game, be methodical, get a 7-minute drive. Just be smart. Whether they do it your way, or they hit Kelsey, or it's probably a combination of both. Go for it. That's how you win. That's how you cover this game. If they continue to do the stuff they did last week, which is very much possible, the Giants easily could win this game. It would not shock me if the Chiefs are sitting around doing the same stuff they did last week. Giants come in and they win. And then that's a whole another set of narratives about the Chiefs are dead to me. What are we gonna do? What all that stuff.
What's the Giants' money line right now? Is it like plus 350?
It is a plus 375.
Man, what do you think this line's going to do as we get closer? Do you think it's going to shrink? It's probably going to shrink, right?
I mean, I got to think a ton of the sharps are going to be on the Giants because that's just the smart play. But I think more so long term, this team is just going to be up, and it's just going to be like they'll win, and after a loss, and then everybody's back in, and then they'll lose, and then everybody's out, and then they'll win, everybody's back in, all season long.
It's probably a good. That's probably a good read of the situation.
So you're on the Chiefs, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think that wraps up the weekend.
Daniel Jones on Monday night in Arrowhead.
He's much better. I brought this up weeks ago. He's much better actually on the road and as an underdog, but relative to his own performance, what does that say?
Exactly. Relative to what? Kirk Cousins in primetime? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need you to pick a dog of 3.5 or more to win outright.
Stick with the Lions. First win of the season.
It's your third time picking the Lions this year.
I'll probably pick them 3 more.
All right. For our locks, I've got Steelers, Bengals, Cowboys. You've got Colts, Chargers, Vikings. Thursday, I have the Packers. You have the Cardinals. Dog of 3.5 or more to win outright. I have the Steelers. You have the Lions. Highest scoring team. You get to go first after a rare win in this category.
Give me the Bills.
It's a great pick. That is a great pick. I'll just go ahead and take the Rams.
All right.
Okay. So then, week-to-week bet, Lewis, I'm going to take the Broncos at 4 or more sacks versus the Washington professional football team.
Wow. Not a fan of the offensive line?
Nah. It's a Taylor Heineke holding on to the football pick.
I'll say I'll double up on the Bills. Let me go Stephon Diggs, 150 and 2 touchdowns.
All right. That is going out there. Okay, good for you. All right, so Survivor, Lewis. Who you got? You're free to pick everybody since you're out of our official pool.
I mean, I guess I would take the Bills. It's the only big well, them and the Rams are. Wait, do I have the?
Let me read you off the top 5 teams right now.
Okay.
The Seahawks are number 1.
No way.
No, don't take that. The Chiefs are number 2. The Bills are number 3. The Eagles are number 4. The Chargers are number 5.
Yeah, I'll take the Bills.
I'm also going to take the Bills.
All right.
Okay, well, there we go.
Okay, anything else? We'll get out of here. If you like the episode, like the show, please hit that thumbs up, ring the bell. As Kyle.
I thought that was a question at first. I thought you were going to ask me if I liked the most recent episode of Succession.
I mean,
I was like, oh, God, he's throwing something at me.
Everybody did. Why not? Please leave a comment. And if you want to email us, it's 3pointplaypodcast@gmail.com. You can find Kyle on Twitter at kverska7. I'm at TPP Sweet Lou. Other than that, good luck this week, Kyle. Hope to beat you again. See you, Carp.
Always so sweet on your sign-off, Lewis.